Will the Chicago Bears claw their way to the Super Bowl or look to hibernate by week 5? We're exploring some wild best case and worst case scenarios for 2025. I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. With me tonight is my co-host Justin Onayemi. Stick around and see just how good or bad this season could get for Caleb Williams and crew.
We really appreciate the viewers of the Halas Huddle. We especially love to interact with other Chicago Bears fans. So please subscribe, like, comment, even set notifications so you know when we're talking Chicago Bears football here on the Halas Huddle.
Yeah, and with that, before we get into best case and worst case scenarios, we're going to just touch on some upcoming or some review of what happened in training camp this past week, right? So we're going to do some rapid fire review here. Look, it was, week one, or I'm sorry, the first practice, I was pretty harsh on Caleb Williams, right? I was pretty upset with the fact that things weren't coming easy. Justin put me in my place and said, look, Rob, it's not supposed to be easy. Look, Ben Johnson said it before we even got started. This is going to be difficult. We're going to make people uncomfortable. And I appreciate you reminding me of that. But yeah, so day 2 happened, day 3 happened. We've seen all the way through day 4. So there's been 4 practices to date. Things finally started to look a little bit better for Caleb Williams on the last day. So that's a good thing. But there's been some context that has been put out there that I think is very important. So one, look, they've been letting Montez Sweat do some free rushes to make him uncomfortable and get to the quarterback without basically being blocked. So that's one thing. 2, they're only in phase 4 of their installation of 12. So we still have a long ways to go before this offense is fully installed. And not a lot of time left before the beginning of the season. So hopefully they can get that squared away. Just a lot of things that have taken place over the last few days. We heard from Dennis Allen, who is obviously bringing some heat with the defense. But one of the interesting things that he's doing is he's actually kind of cross-training and having both TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds being able to play both positions. So that was kind of an interesting thing that came out of Halas Hall.
Well, I know you want to mention some injuries. Let's do that after I give a little response here to what you just said. So you said the other day after day 1, we happened to be recording, and I'm going to put you in your place again, I hope. I'm glad that we haven't done an episode each day, because the other thing we must remember is that the process from going from what you were to what you want to be is not a linear process. That goes back to it not being easy. There's rises, there's falls, there's challenges, there's things to overcome. And so we need to judge them after weeks together, after, even the season may have those ups and downs that typically happen to most teams. So I'm looking at it more holistically. And the fact that, as you said, by day 4, things are looking a little better. I don't think it's appropriate for us to, judge every single throw of practice. I mean, it is practice. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if they should be letting Montez Sweat get free runs. He needs to practice earning the path to the quarterback and bringing him down. So, I think overall, this is an exciting time as Bears fans, because the things that I more so was concerned about is Ben Johnson ready for this task? And that part really seems clear. So let's give them some time, and it'll be nice to see when they have a joint practice how they look. When they start having preseason games, what's his philosophy going to be? We don't know those types of things, and those are exciting things to keep our eyes on. Now, I will toss it back to you for injuries, because that part might have some storylines here as well.
Yeah, before you do, I do want to say, though, look, you spelled that out correctly, because we do kind of overreact to a lot of things that take place in training camp. But just real quick, I want to give Ben Johnson's quote that he gave between day 3 and day 4. And he said, look, we're not frustrated at all. We're right where we need to be. In fact, I told the unit last night to see where they came from in the springtime to where we've been for 3 days. We're not having to coach alignment. We're not having to coach finish. We're not having to coach the standard, as you say. Now we're coaching football, right? We're reading coverages, and we're able to accumulate reps. And like I alluded to before, the beautiful thing about it is our guys are learning. We're not making the same mistake twice. And that is basically what we want to see here. So it might not be coming easy, but hopefully the outcome means this hard work will pay off in the end.
Just to go heavy on some details here, a lot of people got up in arms when they heard Caleb Williams threw 2 interceptions in the red zone drill. And Ben Johnson went over each one of them and talked about, on the first one, I thought that the route could have been run crisper, but I also want Williams to see that the coverage was what it was and make it to his next progression. So they're coaching through a mistake. He said the other one, if you're throwing to the back of the end zone, it's got to go up for us or for nobody. He threw it too low. TJ Edwards made a heck of a play, which you also want to see, by the way, and that's a learning opportunity. So I have a lot more confidence in this coaching staff to actually help them through these struggles, and so now's the time to have them.
Yeah. Just real quick with some injury updates. So on the first day of practice, Shamar Turner hurt his ankle. He has not been able to practice since. Kyron Amagaji on Saturday hurt his leg and he was seen limping off the field with one of their head trainers. Doug Kramer hurt his leg. Fullback entrepreneur. I don't even know what word I was going for there. That's not the right word, but he apparently was very frustrated, slammed his helmet to the ground. So that doesn't sound very good. But some good news is Colson Loveland did return to team drills for the first time and had 3 catches. So that's a good thing to see. Luther Burden's still not back, but close. We keep hearing he's close. So hopefully he'll be out on the field next week. Darnell Wright was out, but not with an injury. He had a scheduled full day off. And then Braxton Jones still not fully practicing, but still getting those key reps with the first team unit.
And all starting on air.
Yeah, exactly. All right, real quick, let's look at some risers and fallers, some guys whose stock may be up and stock might be down. Speaking of left tackle, look, Ozzie Trapillo's stock seems to still be going up, while Braxton Jones is maybe not going down, but just kind of laying flat. And now with the Amagaji injury, we'll see how that plays out. That might set him back to the point where Trapillo gets to continue to progress forward.
Well, again, every rep matters, but with offensive line play and somewhat with running backs, when the pads go on, which is on Tuesday, then you get a better sense of who's doing what.
Right. Terrell Smith has been fighting for some time, got some reps, rotational reps with Tyreek Stevenson, which I was a little surprised because, again, I keep talking about how Stevenson's better with man. Smith seems to always be better with zone, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the end. Jalen Johnson still not there, but look, you're not even seeing Terrell Smith get reps there. You're seeing Nashawn Wright, a 3rd-round pick out of Dallas a few years ago, who's here as a free agent. So
he's got crazy size, right?
Was that?
I believe he's got crazy size.
Yeah, I think he's like 6 foot 195 or something. I could be wrong there.
Bigger. I'll look it up. Keep going.
But he has familiarity with DB coach Al Harris, so I think that plays a big part in it here. You touched on it with the way to throw the ball there in the red zone. So on Saturday, Caleb Williams did throw a nice just up ball, right? And Roma Dunze went up and got it and got the touchdown there in a 2-minute drill that they scored, 1 minute and 8 seconds. So that was a cool thing to see them and build up on their connection. But he's been being talked about. I do want to say, I think a faller here, though, we're not hearing anything about DJ Moore. And that's a little surprising because that guy obviously is a big talent. I would expect to hear more about him. And we're just not.
Way too early to judge anything like that. I think, as you said, they're at phase 4 of a 12-part install. And he was asked directly, DJ Moore was asked directly, like, what's your niche in this offense? And he said, we're not at that part yet. So now's the time to learn the basics, but you hope he's getting a whole package of things that, Ben Johnson feels confident that could get his game going, just like you'd want to know he's doing for Roma Dunze, for Luther Burden, assuming he gets on the field soon, Loveland, Komet, go down the list of hopefully many, many weapons that this team has on offense.
Yeah, so we heard a name that was potentially going to be a weapon on defense. I wasn't high on him, but, Dennis Allen brought him up a few times, was Ruben Hippolyte. Him and Noah Sewell have been kind of fighting for that linebacker 3 position, but it does sound like Noah Sewell is currently ahead of Hippolyte at this point. So it seems like Hippolyte's stock has kind of dropped a little bit, at least, since those OTAs that we were hearing his name a lot. And then you kind of put it on here, and you just mentioned him is Colston Loveland, right? Like he's obviously seeing his stock rise. He had 3 catches, 2 in 7-on-7s, and 1 in I think the 2-minute drill, or maybe it was 1v1s. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, obviously, and Adam Hogue came out and said like he looks good, like his routes look sharp. So it'll be interesting to see him, work into this offense.
Well, and other reports too are he looks bigger than when he first got here, which he was still nursing an injury. And part of the concern was like how much has he been able to do heavy lifting and things like that. And typically, especially at that position, coming in from college, that's one of the things that kind of holds you back at first is do you have the NFL type body? So probably still not at what he'll end up, getting to, but it's good to see that he hopefully can get right in and start making a difference, start making an impact.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to standouts and surprises. So these are just some guys that might be turning heads, maybe making some noise. Look, I got to give a shout out to the coaching staff. You already kind of did already, but the fact that Ben Johnson has been doing what he's been doing, the way things are being run in camp, it just sounds absolutely awesome. Dennis Allen, another guy you got to give a big shout out to, making the defense do some up downs. They said they were bringing it back to like their 7th grade middle school days. I remember doing up downs in middle school football. It was brutal. I make my son do it as a goalkeeper because he's got to quickly get up and down. So that's a big thing in his exercises throughout the week. And then Eric Bieniemy, because the running back group, it sounds like might be a little bit underrated.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we said when he came in is like, this is a guy that's been there. Even getting potential head coaching opportunities were starting to be whispers. And now when he gets to lock in and focus on a position he's coached, we definitely thought that was a good hire. The guy I want to shout out real quick is Rome Odunze. There have been times, I mean, we know the potential that's there. And, he's talked a lot about like learning throughout his rookie year. And so you want to see that growth from year 1 to year 2. But how awesome is it that he's also coming into such a better situation when it comes to hopefully having an offense that's, prolific, at least maybe not at first, but that's the potential that we start to see here. And he's made some great catches, starting to develop that connection maybe with Caleb Williams. I mean, let's be honest, last year, if there was a guy Caleb Williams needed to connect with and throw to in tough situations, that guy's not here anymore. That was Keenan Allen. So who's he going to be that way with now? And honestly, if it's Rome Odunze, then you're hoping it's that connection for 5, 6, 7 years into the future.
Yeah, and with Luther Burden not practicing, I mean, it gives them even more opportunity to continue to build. So, great call out there. I'll just throw out some quick names. You can touch base on any of them that you feel like need to be a touchdown. Kyle Monunga has been mentioned multiple times. People are saying he looks a little bit faster than what they expected.
Pads.
Feet, good vision.
Wait till the pads go on.
That's true. That's 100% true. Tyson Bagent has been pushing Case Keenum. Was looking good with the third team. They've been kind of rotating back and forth. Who's playing with the 2s? Who's playing with the 3s? Both linebackers, TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, have been looking good. Obviously, both with some interceptions there in camp. I will say Montez Sweat has been talked about a few times, and I know, again, some of those have been like, planned attempts for him to be able to get in the backfield, but they did say that he's looking good. Jaquan Brisker is not using the cap, right? But he did have an interception off a tip Terrell Smith ball, I think on Saturday. And then we mentioned him earlier last week, but J.P. Richardson, the undrafted wide receiver out of TCU, is just kind of a slot guy, just kind of making some catches again with Bagent. So it'll be interesting. I think he's going to be kind of like that camp darling. We'll see him in the preseason games. So.
Well, and he's kind of one of these older prospects, right? And specifically, we talked about like this particular draft had some of those. So if you're in a scheme where like the scheme helps people get open in the slot and you're kind of a smart receiver and know how to use your talent, there's no reason why he can't push, especially when Luther Burden's not out there. But I'd be interested to see in the preseason. I heard he potential as a punt returner, so I'm kind of curious to see that. And then with Montez Sweat, he was asked in his press conference about like, oh yeah, they gave you a free release, and he didn't act like he knew that. So I don't know if it was like planned, or hey, just don't block him this time. But
yeah.
Anyway, we need him to step up and have a big year. So giving him that confidence right away, I like it.
Yes, we do. All right, we're going to move into a fun part of our episode here. This is something that Justin and I have done since the beginning of the Halas Huddle, to the point where at one point I put Justin in jail and I was hiding out in an island somewhere with a lot of money. So we are going to do best case, worst case scenarios, not of Halas Huddle, but actually of the Chicago Bears in the 2025 season. But they can get a little bit crazy, at least mine can. Justin, we will have you obviously go first, and then I will go second, and then we'll move on to worst case after that.
Sounds good. I mean, I want to still stay within like reason, I mean, 17-0, do, the Super Bowl shuffle in week 6, all that. I mean, that just seems crazy, but I'll go a little bit more realistic. Okay. My realistic situation of best case scenario, it's really about the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams connection and getting this offense, like I said, headed in the direction of something prolific. So what that looks like for me in a best case scenario, Williams throws for over 4,000, over 30 touchdowns. All the stats are great. Maybe he's one of the Pro Bowl candidates, that type of thing. But the wins are piling up. In the best case scenario, you take 2 from Green Bay. You could have done it last year, let's be honest. You take 2 from Detroit because Ben Johnson's really going to want to go hard on this. And, I mean, they should beat Vikings on opening night, right? J.J. McCarthy's very first start. So am I suggesting that they sweep their division and take the NFC North? I guess if we're going best case, they somehow pull that off. So if they go 6-0 in their division, I know they have a tough schedule out of the division, but to me, you're taking the North, and then it's about never giving it back. So now I have them in the playoffs. I don't know. It feels weird like in July to even start saying that. So let me just kind of stop there, because all that matters is in that scenario, Ben Johnson's proven he's that dude. Caleb Williams proven he's that dude. And not only are we loving the 2025 season, we think we got a good thing going here for a dynasty. That's my best case scenario for this season.
All right. If you like Justin's best case scenario, hit the like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you liked his best case scenario, you're going to love my best case scenario. All right. Like I said, I get a little bit crazy with these. So my best case scenario, Caleb Williams buys into Ben Johnson's methods and truly starts to improve as soon as week 1. Justin already alluded to it, right? We played J.J. McCarthy in his first game ever. By week 5 of the season, the Chicago Bears offense is humming along, and Dennis Allen has the defense as a top 10 unit. Not anything we can be upset about there, right? The Chicago Bears sweep the Green Bay Packers. Fuck the Packers. Got to throw that in there. We split with the Vikings and the Lions, and they win the NFC North. Crazy talk. But Williams makes his first Pro Bowl and is voted as a second team, not a first team, second team All-Pro. He breaks Eric Kramer's single-season record in passing yards, meaning he's throwing for over 4,000 yards. And his passing touchdowns, he also breaks that record too and throws for 33 touchdowns. Ben Johnson and company do not earn a bye week in the playoffs as the 1 seed. However, they do win 3 playoff games and advance to the Super Bowl. Can you believe it? Unfortunately, I couldn't get too crazy. They do not end up winning the Super Bowl, but instead lose to the Buffalo Bills, who historically lost 4. The Bears have 7 players who earn Pro Bowl nods. Aaron Rodgers leads the Steelers to Mike Tomlin's first losing season of his career. Can you believe it?
Had to throw that in, hater. All right.
Rodgers then instantly retires when the season ends. Green Bay finishes last in the NFC North, and Jordan Love is looking more and more like a bottom feeder QB in the league. National pundits who claimed Love as Williams' ceiling are all fired from their jobs. And the Halas Huddle is syndicated as one of the credentialed go-to Bears content sites, taking over an evening spot following the Black and Abdallah show on ESPN 1000.
All right. But it does scare me. You threw the Halas Huddle part in, and now it has me scared about some of the stuff we've talked about in the past on this show, Rob. I was in contact with my attorneys and was told that we would not be bringing any of that up. So
they sent me a cease and desist letter. So I had to go only positive there. Only positive.
Thank you. Well, until this part, right? So
That's
now
right.
we got to swing the pendulum the other way.
Yep, the Kool-Aid is gone.
Yep, no more Kool-Aid. So
now it's doom and gloom.
Oh boy. All right. And again, I'm sure Rob's is going to be a little more extreme than mine. And I will not put out any injury type of stuff. That's not where we're going with this. But for me, it's just the opposite of what my best case was. The worst thing that could happen in this season, especially if it has nothing to do with injuries, is just Caleb Williams looks, like he doesn't have what it takes to kind of take that next step. And even if he were to have the same season he had last year or even slightly regress, it doesn't necessarily mean that. But with all that's been put in place for him to actually go forward, if he just stagnates or goes back, that would be super concerning. Not to mention, I don't think you win that way. And so worst case scenario, I got really into that Kool-Aid saying we'd sweep the division. I mean, even in best case scenario, that's very hard to imagine. But you could definitely see it going the other way. I mean, it took Eberflus, multiple seasons to even get a win in the division. We know this is going to be a tough division. To me, the worst case is you just never get it going. Offense doesn't click. Defense, we think, is going to be okay. But if losing starts happening again, what stops anyone in this locker room from just being like, this is who we are? And so for me, I don't want to put a number on it, but I'm going to. They go 6-11. That's awful to me. I mean, that would be a slight improvement over last year, but that's not what we're looking for. So, worst case scenario.
I'll tease it because mine's worse.
Yeah, I know, Rob. I'm bracing myself here. Just go, please.
All right. Oh boy. All right, here we go. Ben Johnson's revolutionary offense. It turns into a screen pass after screen pass after screen pass game. The offensive line can never find a way to gel together. Caleb Williams has been sacked 20 times through the first 4 games alone. Joe Thuney is so frustrated, he announces his retirement by week 6. Caleb Williams looks every bit of the bust that some of the national media pundits were declaring as his floor this offseason. It's so bad that fans start chanting, "Bring back Trestman," by week 8. The Chicago Bears do not win a single game versus their NFC North divisional opponents. They finished the season 3-14. Each quarterback, Williams, Bagent, and Keenum, win a game. The only reason they won the game, though, was due to freak occurrences. Okay, Williams beats the Raiders, but only because 40% of the starting roster developed food poisoning the morning of the game. Bagent takes over in week 7 after Williams has a mental breakdown, losing to Jaden Daniels 52-3 the week before. Bagent beats the Saints, though, 7-3, but only because Spencer Rattler throws a pick 6 that bounces off the referee's head. Keenum ends up beating the Browns in week 15 because Shedeur Sanders and half the team boycotted practice and hit up a private island celebration of their victory over the Titans in week 14. The Browns, who attended, barely make it back in time to play in week 15 and still came close to beating the Bears despite being hungover and or still intoxicated.
You left out one part. Are you done?
I'm not done.
Oh.
To make matters worse, the Packers go on and win the Super Bowl, and Jordan Love is named not only Super Bowl MVP, but league MVP. With how poorly the season went for Ben Johnson, he tells Ryan Poles in the front office that he has decided to step away from football and become an escape room designer instead. A passion he developed while sneaking away each week to try and escape his newfound depression. Kevin Warren fires Ryan Poles despite just extending him, then announces the Chicago Bears will still not have a stadium deal in place by 2026. Fans want the McCaskies to sell the team, and to their surprise, they decide to do so. Wait, I thought this was worst case. Well, sorry, Bears fans. Through some strange loopholes, the McCaskies sell the team to a group of people that includes both Brett Favre and former Bears owner Aaron Rodgers.
I thought you were going to say Reinsdorf.
No, that would be just as bad, though. The new owners have no intention of ever putting a winning organization together, and the Bears rot in NFL purgatory forever. Sorry for my cease and desist letter. It goes out the window. The Halas Huddle falls apart, and Rob, Bob, and Justin turn the YouTube channel from one covering the Chicago Bears into one covering teddy bears. That's right. This channel is now called the Plush Ponder, a live streaming channel featuring a slow, monotone series of videos where an elderly sounding narrator calmly reflects on the stitch quality, button eye placement, and sitting posture of vintage teddy bears. There's no music, no cuts, just one camera, one bear, and one deeply unnecessary analysis.
Bravo, bravo, but you'll be so mad that you missed an element. And watch how much worse it gets, Rob.
What did I forget?
When Tooney retired, the Bears' interior O-line, which we said didn't have enough depth, proves not to have enough depth, and the Bears go out and sign Nate Davis.
I missed that one. Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great.
But the rest still happens. Yeah,
That's
the rest
right.
was pretty. You tied it all together. So,
all right. Well, if you hate those worst case scenarios, again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment. What are your best case scenarios and worst case scenarios for the Chicago Bears this season? What do you guys think of training camp through week 1? What are you excited to see as we go into week 2? And as Justin alluded to, pads are going to start coming on. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We got a little bit ways to go, but it still seems not too far off. So,
yeah. And as the offseason or as the training camp ramps up, so will our coverage here on the Halas Huddle. So please tune in.
Yeah. Until then, please bear down.
Claws up.
Ready, break.